good afternoon and welcome along to Fox's Hub and Matchday Live for the final time this season. It is indeed the last Premier League game of this campaign, which, as we know, has ended in disappointment and relegation for the Foxes. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll also talk about plans for next season as well as the game today with Bournemouth. I'm Dan Bates. David Nugent and Gerry Taggart are sat with me here in the studio. Two former Leicester players, of course. One striker, one defender. Nice different points of view for today. Gerry loves to talk about defending as ever, don't you? You like to talk about
He always wanted to be a striker, so...
No, I didn't.
No.
I wanted to be a midfielder.
Yeah. Where did you start your career? Where was it?
Midfield.
Position? Centre mid, yeah?
Centre mid.
But you were too slow to get to go defending.
Correct.
The natural progression back.
Natural progression back.
Yeah. How are you both?
I'm brilliant,
Very well, yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
You're injured though, Nuge.
I am, mate, yeah. I've snapped the tendon in my finger playing in one charity game.
Yeah.
Perfect finger to do it. And then I played a charity game, King Power, on Tuesday. Pulled my hamstring and calf in the same game, so...
On the different legs.
Different legs. So I'm hobbling around.
And to say you keep yourself pretty fit as well anyway.
I do a lot of straight line running on the treadmill.
Walking's a way
Start changing
forward.
direction, it's game over.
Yeah.
Get a dog, start walking.
I was tracking back as well. I was trying to like...
tracking
back.
What are you doing in the charity game, tracking back there? Yeah, that's why you've hung your boots up, isn't it, Gerry?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
There was one venture out, wasn't there? Was it a couple of years ago?
Yeah, you know, and a few people have seen me make a bit of a fool of myself yet again, but I think that was my swan
Are we
song.
talking what I'm thinking about in Dubai?
Dubai, yeah, where a fellow
it was
himself.
I enjoyed it.
But yeah, that was it for me. That was my swan song. That was the final nail.
The moment you fell over yourself, you thought, I thought this is it now.
You give back when you stood up.
Yeah. I mean, entertaining though.
Yeah.
You know, at least I left on an entertaining note.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching us, obviously, on YouTube, please do get involved in the comment section. Get your questions in for our two guests today. I'm sure you can probably try and dig out Gerry falling over somewhere.
It's out there somewhere.
It'll be out there somewhere. Yeah, we've got the small matter of a Premier League game today, the final one of the season. And Gerry, you know, we were just saying before we came on, it is important. Leicester want to finish 18th. The money is more for finishing 18th than it is 19th. And keep a bit of positive momentum going because, you know, 2 wins and a draw in the last 3 is a nice way to end the season.
Absolutely, Dan. As you say, no, it's sort of, we all know what's happened, but I suppose a good performance and a decent result today just helps the medicine go down that little bit easier till the end of the season. Gives everyone, I'm not saying it's going to make their years or their season, but it just might make someone's day, you know, and that's what it's all about now. And going out on that positive note, and there's no reason why they can't. I know the record against Bournemouth, at Bournemouth in the Premier League isn't great, but, you know, they showed a little bit of grit and determination against Forest a couple of weeks ago away from home. So there's no reason why they can't do the same today.
And we're talking about the pressure of when the pressure's off.
Absolutely.
When obviously the day came where they got relegated. Since then, you know, the results have picked up. You know, no pressure. But you know, at Bournemouth away, it's going to be tough. You know, fans are going down there. You know, so the fans can't let them down. You know, the last 3 games, should I say, 2 wins and a draw. Got momentum. I know it's at the wrong time, but still going into the last game of the season, fans travelling down. You know, what is it, 4 hours down there to Bournemouth. Need to go there and, you know, put on a show for them.
Longer if you're Matt Elliott.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And to be fair, there won't be a lot of say neutrals looking at this game today because there's a lot more happening in the Premier League at the top end for the Champions League places.
Are Bournemouth still fighting for a place in
No.
Europe? No. Okay.
Well, I think they can potentially finish 8th, and that
definitely.
maybe, if other things happen, could be a European.
Yeah, there's a lot of permutations at the top end of the table, isn't there?
Yeah.
And so most people will be having their eyes on that. But as far as the Leicester City bubble's concerned, it's still an important game, without a doubt.
And look at the squad, there's a couple of young players on there as well who could potentially come on and make a difference. And that could be looking forward to next season as well.
Yep, we'll come on to that in just a moment. Hello to Sonny, to Eddie, to Daniel, to Molly, Joseph, Full Shield, Fox, Scott, Bubba, all joining us. Hello to Ollie as well. Thank you, everyone. Interesting point on the team. Scott says, interesting squad considering there's no new injuries yet. Some of the squad missing from last week. So, without further ado, let's take a look at today's team news. Starting, obviously, with the Foxes. Ruud van Nistelrooy, for the final time this season, names his 11. We think it'll be a back three. Presumably it'll be a back three. Stolarczyk in goal. Thomas, Cody, Fass are the three central-ish defenders, I guess. Christensen and Justin as the wing-backs. Skip and Samare in midfield. Ayew, McAteer are in behind Patson Daka in Leicester City's first game post Jamie Vardy, of course. We'll come on to him in just a moment when we look back at last week's game. On the bench, Everson, Akoli, Ricardo, Golding, Buonanotte, Braybrook, Aluko, Evans and Monga. So particularly the bottom four names on that list, obviously a real nod to the future, isn't it, there? All coming through the academy here with the Foxes. Bournemouth have Kepa in goal, Kirkez, Sensi, Zabani and Smith, Adams and Brooks in midfield, with Tavernier, Kluivert and Semenyo supporting Evan Nielsen. Interesting to see Howson on the bench there, fresh from his was it 50-60 million pound move to Real Madrid.
That's a fancy football team
in the summer. That's great. That's pleased me. That has. You got your captain changed in the end, didn't you? On the team then. We will come on to obviously the young players, Gerry, and particularly moving forward to next season. But just on the starting 11, it looks like a changing system again. Yeah,
I mean, you've got four youngsters, like you say, on the bench. Why not give one of them? Buonanotte's on the bench. Why? I mean, I think he's missed a chance here, in all honesty. But
what, in not playing?
And not giving one of the younger lads a bit of a go. That's, in my opinion, absolutely. He's obviously... I understand what Ruud's trying to do. You know, he's put a team out because he wants a result, and he's gone with that, and so he's gone for a bit more experience. And I'm not saying he's trying to protect his own stock value, but for me, there's an opportunity there for him to get some of the young lads on the pitch, give them a start, you know, at a difficult place. But yeah, I can see, I understand what he's trying to do, which is he's trying to get a result, and he's set a team up in a way that he thinks is the best way possible.
Yeah, no, obviously, again, at this point, not seeing the youngsters in the starting lineup, but, you know, I think Ruud's seeing this as a tough game. Maybe Bournemouth away might be a little bit challenging for the kids, as you said, but, you know, they're on a bit of a run. Yeah. You know, he wants to keep his momentum going in the league. You know, last game of the season. But I think like you've only been getting snippets, haven't you, the youngsters? I think we'll see maybe a half an hour, 60 minutes. You know, might give them a bit more time to come to the game and try and influence it a bit more, rather than 5 minutes at the end where they're going to come on and have a little run round and the whistle goes, like we've seen previously. Yeah. But yeah,
and I think that's important. You know, for the development of
bed them in, like
absolutely. Instead of, you know, if you're going to get, I understand. You know, when Jeremy Monga first came on the pitch, made his debut, he got 5-10 minutes. Then he got a bit more last week. And again, this weekend, so you're just drip feeding them. You're upping their minutes on the pitch, game by game by game. And I think it's really important for their development.
I think it's hard as a youngster coming on as a game as well for half an hour. Obviously, I think you'll see the best of Jeremy Monga if he started the game from the start, because he knows he's starting. His head's right to go in straight from the start, where if you come on, sometimes you try a little bit too hard, you know, to try and make an impact.
Is that the case?
I think so for a youngster. You know, I know they play without any fear, but they'd much rather start a game than come on for half an hour and try and make an impact. As like,
I guess because you're thinking, I've only got half an hour. Every time I get the ball, I need to do something. Whereas if you start, it's...
you can bed yourself into the game.
Or it can work in the opposite way as well, where he's saying, well, I've come on with a sub, what does he expect me to do in 10, 15 minutes worth of football? I'm not going to be able to do much. You know, whereas, you know, Nugent's right, where you start him, right, here we go. I've got potentially 90 minutes to go out and make stuff happen.
And he's used to playing for the 18s, 21s, isn't he? Yeah. Every week in, week out, so he knows his role. So I think if you just threw him in for this one, he knew what he was doing straight from the off. Yeah,
Ollie on YouTube says he'd like to have seen Monga starting. He's probably the one, isn't he? I think out of them all. That...
Even Evans as well, I think. Yeah. Because he could be starting next season. So this is a chance just to give both of them. They're the ones that have probably impressed the most from the lower age groups. Just throw them in, give them a chance to see what they're like. Yeah. Nothing to lose.
Yeah, I guess it is one way of looking at it, but at least they have had minutes though, because you know, and I think it shows a bit of bravery as well from Ruud to put them in these games, because he could have just been like, no, concentrating on trying to get a result, but he's thinking he is planning for the future.
Yeah, and listen, he's got a way of working, Ruud, and he'll have his reasons for, you know, doing what he's doing in regards to the minutes these young lads get on the pitch. I think from a more of a selfish point of view, with it being the last game of the season,
I think a lot of people want to see them.
You want to see a little bit more of these young kids, because the bits we have seen,
have been good.
It's been very, very impressive, believe me. And so you want to see a bit more of that. And I think from a selfish point of view, and I understand why Ruud hasn't done it, because, you know, there's a game to be won. And he's put a team out that in his mind he thinks he can get a result with it to start the game. Anyway.
And as we've referenced already, if you get the result today, whether it's a draw or a victory, to end the season 4 games unbeaten, you know, that can only bode well for next season.
Well, it's better than finishing the last 4 games, losing every one. The squad, the players not turning up. It makes everyone at least feel a little bit more, or to take relegation, at least that's a little bit more palatable, shall we say, than it would be if we were just like, down tools, let's get on the beach, forget about the last run-in since we got relegated. So they've actually turned up, and, you know, we were talking again about the pressure being off and how that affects players. And again, that can happen at both ends of the table, not just at the bottom when the inevitable happens. But at least it, as I mentioned, it makes the medicine go down a little bit better.
But it makes the fans have that little belief as well going into next season, because
exactly.
they've shown these last 3 games that we've just seen that they've got it in them to win games in the Premier League and go to Forest, do a fight in the Champions League and get a draw. I know Southampton at home and Ipswich at home, but probably meant to win them games, and we did. No one expected us to get a draw against Forest.
Gives everybody a little bit of hope, doesn't it?
Yeah, gives everyone a little bit of hope for next season if we go out there and put a performance and get a point away from home against Bournemouth, who've finished top half of the season, top end of the table.
And that sometimes is what supporters need. The fans that have travelled
down. Everyone needs it.
We need it.
We all need it. We know at this point in the season's been, but this gives everyone a little bit of hope. You know, last 4 games, if we can win, we'll get something out of this game. Last 4 games unbeaten, just takes that little bit of hope going into the Championship next season.
Yeah, and having beaten Bournemouth as well, by the way, already this season, that'll be a nice feeling to do against a team, obviously, that have had a decent season themselves.
Well, I mean, to say they got away with one when they beat Bournemouth here early in the season is an understatement, you know. But they kept the clean sheet, won the game. Bournemouth's home form, or form in general, hasn't been great in the last 8 games. I think they've only won 2 of their last 8. The problem Leicester have is that their actual Premier League record at Bournemouth isn't great at all. I think they've not won in the 6 times they've met in the Premier League. So, but as I say, today is a different day. There's pressure. There's more pressure on Bournemouth today to get a result than there is for Leicester.
Matty's arrived as well.
He's been in the canteen already. By the looks of it.
Oh dear. Right, let's move on swiftly. It's a good job that the viewers can't see what news you've just pointed to there. Last week, the game was very much the Jamie Vardy show. We'll see the highlights in just a moment. But you were here as a guest.
I was, mate. Yeah. It was
for your old mate, Jamie Vardy.
Quite an enjoyable guest as well, it was. No, we spent the whole day here. No, we all got invited, a few ex-players. There was 14 of us in total. All get invited up to the director's box.
Was that? Was that from him? Did he handpick you guys?
No, he didn't have a clue.
Okay.
He didn't have a clue. So I think it was more family.
Yeah.
Like Rebecca and the kids choosing who they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
So he had no clue we were all going to be out on the pitch after the game. He had no clue what was going on after, when we all went for a party after.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was an enjoyable day. Director's box, food and drink. You know, let's see a lot of old faces.
No wonder you said no to us.
Nigel Pearson, speaking to Nigel, all his wife and kids were there. You know, Steve Walsh was there. Obviously, no Shaky, obviously, bless his soul, obviously wasn't there. But no, it was just such a great occasion to like see everybody. You know, brought back a lot of memories. Yeah, we had a really good time.
Yeah. A lot of those people you've probably not seen for a long time.
Yeah. Well, who else? Oh, Waggy was there. Got a lot of golf with Waggy, but Lloyd Dyer, not seen him for quite a while. Obviously, Vass, Richie Delat, haven't seen him for quite a while because they obviously live in different countries. Jeff came down back from Scotland. Schluppy was there. Liam Moore. Conch, haven't seen Conch for quite a while. Paul Konchesky. Trying to think who else was there. Drinky was there. Matty James. Obviously, Kingy was there. Obviously, but he came back. Yeah. He's coach now. So yeah, really. Conrad Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's quite a few of us, good reunion. It was like more like the Championship squad that got promoted to the Premier League, more that era. So yeah, we had a really good time.
Yeah, I think everyone was peering down Jay, weren't they, during the game to figure out who
Casper.
It was there, Casper, of course.
Casper,
Yeah.
Good effort from Casper as well.
Well, particularly Schluppy and Casper, considering they won the league the day
that's
before,
amazing.
hadn't they? And then
Good effort for them.
Lost the cup final yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah.
On penalties.
yeah.
Casper threw one in. Sorry, Casper.
Oh dear. But yeah,
No, good effort.
a good day.
Yeah, and obviously great day. Obviously on the pitch, everyone was
What a
just
send off.
everyone was just there waiting for that moment where he had one chance, didn't he, where he went through and just delayed his shot a little bit, and everyone thought that was it, but he managed to get another one and stick it in the bottom corner.
I think as soon as James Justin megged that pass through the defender's legs and it went to the VAR, this is the moment.
But even the shot went through the defender's legs, and the amount of time,
the
amount of time if you shoot through the defender's legs, the keeper's always blindsided.
Yes.
You always think it's going to take a deflection, it doesn't. It rolls in, and typical Jamie Vardy over to the away fans.
Absolutely.
It was meant to happen. I think it was meant to happen.
Without a doubt.
So as soon as I would have brought him off. I was there. I straight away bring him off.
Yeah.
500 games, 200 goals.
Yeah.
Done my job. See you later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, let's take a look back then at the highlights from a week ago here at King Power Stadium. A pretty momentous day, wasn't it, as the club said goodbye to its greatest ever player.
Clark. Now he slips. This might be the moment for James Justin. Up over halfway in the sunshine. Brilliant run. Vardy to his left. He's still going. He's played it to Vardy. He's done it! It just had to be him on his big farewell. 200 up for Jamie Vardy. The perfect goodbye now for Leicester City's greatest ever player. James Justin with the assist. Jamie Vardy with the finish. Celebrated wildly.
Oh, incredible. Incredible scenes. And credit James Justin, by the way. What a run it was from him. At one stage, Jamie Vardy had come back into his own half to help out.
Sumari, lovely ball through the lines. El Khanous shifts it onto Ndidi, and he's picked out McAteer, who scored! Denied by the post a couple of minutes ago. Casey McAteer rams that one home. And Leicester's final home game of the season, and Jamie Vardy's farewell is going very, very well. They're 2-0 up.
Oh, great strike. There was no indecision this time, was it, from McAteer?
This is it, the final page of a magical tale. A player, a character that every fan would love to have at their club. And for the last 13 years, Leicester's been his home. He is given a wonderful ovation by his teammates. A footballer who's embodied the spirit and the story of this club's golden age. It's goodbye to Jamie Vardy, Leicester's greatest ever player.
There we go. Yeah, what a day it was here at King Power Stadium a week ago. There's no you forgot Wes.
And I can't believe the captain, Simo, Shinji, Mark Albrighton.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I missed them all. I missed them all. Jesus Christ. Sorry, lads. Good turnout.
Great
Proper
turnout.
turnout.
Great turnout. As you would expect, though.
Yeah.
For, as you said, greatest ever player. I mean, what a send-off, and rightly so.
Yeah, the atmosphere before the game was electric, wasn't it? All the
You think
flags going.
You think we just won the title again?
Yeah.
The atmosphere with all the flags.
But even it was just like a Jamie Vardy day. That was basically it. Everyone's in the score. He did it.
No one cared about anything else.
Nothing else. No.
Yeah.
And the fans that stayed behind as well was superb.
There was even some Ipswich fans.
Yeah, and there was even 30, 40 Ipswich fans stayed behind to watch it. So yeah, great send-off.
Yeah. We were saying you all had your coffee cups out the second half. Was it coffee?
That was very strong coffee. That was. Very strong coffee. Triple shots. It was. Triple shots of coffee.
But I think that you did all have a moment, obviously on the pitch, but then you had moments with Jamie Vardy as just mates, didn't you? I guess as a big group of you.
Yeah. No, that was the championship season we went up. That was one of the biggest reasons that we were a team. We were always together. No matter what happened, we always stuck together. And if we went out everybody went out. There wasn't one person who was like, "Oh, I'm not going." We were a real solid group together, and that helps on the pitch. I think on the pitch we worked with each other. Off the pitch, we were mates off it. So I think that's vital when you got a squad of players together. That everyone gets on together.
Yeah. So the goal itself, we've touched upon it already. James Justin obviously has an awful lot of credit needs to go to him, doesn't it? For I guess winning it back was the easy part, considering Clark slipped, but then everything he did after that was perfect.
Yeah, he's obviously the lad slipped. He's nipped in. He's gone on a road and run inside. He's made one diagonal run. Vards has gone the other side, a little outside the foot pass. You think the defender's going to come and get a tackle. He has a touch there where potentially he could have shot first time, but he settles himself. Defender tries to block the ball, goes for the defender's legs, and the amount of goals we said that goes for the defender's legs usually wrong foot to the goalkeeper, and the keeper's there, just fell backwards. Couldn't really do anything about it.
Great run.
Great run again. Diagonal run. Straight pass.
He loves, one thing I've noticed in my 7 years of watching him week in, week out, he loves to he doesn't look interested, doesn't look and then suddenly goes, doesn't he?
Well, he's just trying to stay out the way the space where he's going to run to. He didn't want to be standing in there straight away, otherwise he'll have no space to move.
Well, he's looking to see what James Justin's about to do with the ball.
And with him, JJ coming this way towards us, he's making the space by moving away, knowing that JJ's going to put it into the space where he can do his dart and run that we've seen over the years.
He just times it to perfection, and that's obviously the experience he's gained over the years. Just to not panic in that situation and go, no, hold your run, right, go, bang.
And how many times have we seen it doing that running, that finish? That's where he's at his best, in the 18-yard box, waiting. Defenders looking to see where he's going to go. As soon as the defender looks away, his movement's to go inside, so he blindsides him and
I say fair play to James Justin as well. Not only for the monumental run with the ball.
It's not about defenders, Gerry.
But even to read that situation, when to give it to him, when to release the ball after Jamie eventually makes that little diagonal.
I do have eye contact in it.
JJ's got to make eye contact with Vards to let him know, this is when I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then Vards starts in, he passes the ball, it works out perfect.
Yeah, there he is actually, the man we're talking about. He's warming up at the Vitality today. Probably a different role for him potentially as a wing back if we think that's the way they're going. But I spoke to him after the game, JJ, and he was saying he knew, he was like, I am passing to Jamie Vardy, whatever happens, because it's Jamie Vardy on this day.
I think there was a lot of occasions in that game where everyone was trying to pass the balls, even though it wasn't on.
Yeah.
I think everyone was just willing him to do it.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's picked the right time to do it, JJ, and he's
But it does that is a momentous thing for him. He assisted Jamie Vardy's last ever Leicester goal. That is.
Yeah, it's a moment in time, a moment in history that you'll never forget.
Give him a trophy.
Yeah, and it will always be played.
Always.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy's last ever goal.
Yeah.
That's all because of James Justin.
And you will see James Justin, long busting run with the ball, perfectly timed, way to pass, into the path for Jamie Vardy, 200 goals on your 500th game. Exactly 13 years till the day since
it was so weird. That was weird, wasn't it?
Really he needed one more assist for 50 as well, didn't he?
I did.
So he's 49 assists.
Wow.
So he needed one more for 50. So I think that's why he stayed on for so long.
Yeah.
But imagine going through 1-1. You reckon he would have passed it?
Yeah.
201 goals doesn't sound good as 201 goals or 200.
50 assists and 200 goals.
It was. I think weird is the right word. 13 years exactly to the day that he signed.
Just crackers.
500 games, 200 goals.
Yeah, so it was just meant to be, mate.
If ever it was in the stars, it was last Sunday.
Yeah.
For him,
Ollie Hill on YouTube says Jamie Vardy's having a party. Indeed, he did that day and that evening, as well as Nugent can certainly
feeling the effects.
As Nugent can certainly attest to.
Thanks for the invite.
But Casey McAteer, though, speaking of James Justin, moment in time getting the assist, for Casey McAteer to get his first Premier League goal on Jamie Vardy Day, if we're calling it that was a big moment for him. He's done really well in this last month or so, and he takes his goal brilliantly.
Yeah. Great finish. Obviously the keeper probably would like to do a little better in their post, but I think the sheer power of the shot took it past the keeper. I like Casey as a player because he's so forward thinking when he gets the ball. It's one that he never goes back. He's always wants to go forward and run at the defender. Very direct, and seeing his goal here, tight angle. Keeper will probably be disappointed, but
well, he had an opportunity early, about 5-10 minutes before that, where was it a shot, was it a cross? It ended up going into the keeper's hands. It was neither.
Yeah.
And so
it's
what you're wanting there is next time this happens, make your mind up early, bang. And he does. I mean, it's a great strike. The technique is superb, by the way.
It's sheer power, takes it past, doesn't it?
And
strikes across it.
Question marks over the keeper, obviously, but take nothing away from the strike. Yeah. It's a great strike, great technique to pull that off. Not easy when the ball's moving across you and you're coming on there to get that technique spot on. So superb.
In that moment, as a striker, when you just decide, I'm just going to hit this hard, is he just, he's not aiming for that spot, is he? Is he just aiming to hit the target and just...
Yeah, it's a hard one. Ideally, I think Casey would want that ball to go the opposite side of the corner, top corner, like diagonal, opposite side. Yeah. But I think he's caught it that sweet that it's gone just like an arrow. Yeah. And the keeper might have half expected it, but the keeper's, you know, you've seen the gap. The gap was what, like that?
Tiny,
ball, size of a ball, and it's gone through.
If you're a top world-class striker, finisher, 100%, then you're picking your spot. But Casey's a young kid making his way in the game. And the number one thing he's got to concentrate on is getting the right connection and hitting the target. And let's see what happens. And thankfully, there was a little bit of help from the keepers, I've said. But the number one thing you've got to concentrate on in those scenarios is getting the right contact. Making your mind up early and executing the decision you've made. And that's exactly what he's done.
I think if he misses that as well, there would have been so many people lining up for the
tackle. Across the goal.
Because everyone's, all the defenders running back and like all the Leicester attackers are going in there. So even if it went across, I'm sure it would have been put in by somebody else. So
obviously, El Canouse and Ndidi combined, didn't they, to set McAteer up? A word on them because they're not in the 11 or in the squad today. Wilfred Ndidi is unwell, and Bilal El Canouse, it's personal family reasons why he's not. So there's an explanation. I know people have been asking where particularly maybe Wilfred Ndidi is, but that's the reason why he's unwell. Speaking of Casey McAteer, let's hear from the man himself. He has been speaking to the media this week ahead of this game with Bournemouth and reflecting on that very first Premier League goal.
Yeah, it was a great moment. It was something I was looking to get done. Obviously, I had a few chances before, hit the post and had a shot that the keeper saved, and then that third one, I thought when the chance comes to put my foot through the ball, and luckily it's flew in, and I'm really happy about it. Ipswich had a few chances before that, and we knew the second goal would give us that cushion and a bit more safety in the game. So when Wolves laid it off to me, I've just thought one thing in my mind is shoot, and when I did, I just felt that great feeling in my stomach, and I think you can tell by my celebrations how buzzing I was to get on the score sheet.
As someone who's a lifetime Leicester City player, come through the academy, fulfilling a lifetime ambition in many ways, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember days I used to be in the stands watching games, and obviously scorers on the scoreboard, and hopefully one day that would have been me, and obviously on Sunday it was. So I can say that I've done that now, and yeah, I can't be more proud of myself for doing it.
A very happy and proud Casey McAteer, and rightly so, Nuge. I think probably, I guess, the moment when you got your first Premier League goal, you remember it well.
Tottenham away for Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Bottom corner. Remember it? Straight away. Little deflection. Yeah, 1-1-0. Do
you remember it because you've watched it back so many times, or do you actually remember?
No, I remember because Harry Redknapp went to Tottenham.
Right.
And he was the one who bought me. Didn't really play me, and I scored my first Premier League goal against Tottenham when he was manager of Tottenham.
Yeah.
So have one of them, Harry.
Celebrate, run the length of the pitch, celebrate in front of them.
No, yeah, I remember, obviously, first Premier League goal. You always remember your first, don't you?
Yeah.
And then, for Casey to get his, I had King Power as our local lad.
Well, his first home goal as well for the club. All his other goals have been away.
But yeah, it'll be a very proud moment. Something he wants to do. Probably earlier on in his career. But he's got his first, and hopefully he can, carry that on in today's game and, try and get another one.
Why have you not asked me about my first Premier League goal?
I was coming to it.
I can't remember. There was that many. I can't remember.
You must remember your first.
I can't.
No.
I'll be honest. I was just trying to go back into the back of my brain.
Who will it have been with, though?
Probably Bolton.
Probably Bolton.
Yeah. Well, I did score the first goal at the Reebok that wasn't given against his lot, and that kept them in the league.
So you scored, or you didn't?
Well, the linesman didn't give it. It went over the line.
So you never scored?
Yeah.
Okay. You can't claim it. You never scored the first goal, did you?
No, you can claim it because you can see it in black and white on the TV. That should have been a goal.
Offside, mate.
No offside.
And that would have sent Everton down.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? Because didn't you play last game of the season? You played Chelsea, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah,
And Everton drew.
Yeah, we drew.
Oh, so it wasn't against Everton, it was against
No,
Chelsea.
but we played Everton at the first, and it was the first.
I remember the game because Chelsea fans were like wanted Bolton to win, didn't they?
Yeah, and Everton to go down.
We played Coventry last game of the season.
Yeah, it was 1-1, I think.
Gareth Valery scored.
Yeah.
A worldie posting in, and Dion Dublin scored and equalised in like last 5 minutes. I was at the game.
Yeah,
I was there
as a kid.
Yeah.
Nice.
But Gerry
I know.
helped us out, didn't he?
The inception of goal line, the inception of goal line technology was one of the driving forces for that goal.
Yeah.
Not being given, because of the circumstances at the end of the season.
That's all gone now, isn't it?
So that's a little claim to fame. Goal line technology.
And you would have had the first goal at the Reebok as well.
But he never.
But
But he never. That's quite an interesting little segue. I wasn't expecting that, but there we go. Casey, though, he's looked really bright, hasn't he, in these
I like
this
him.
run since he's come in.
I think he's a confidence player, Casey. But I think if he has a run of games, you'll see gradual improvement, game on game, week on week, month on month. And again, last week, we've seen him a couple of times this season. We haven't seen him for long spells, but there's been games where he's come in, you're thinking, I think he came in about 5-6 games ago, played really, really well, and then he got himself injured and was out for a few weeks until a couple of weeks ago. But I think he's a player that, you're keeping your eye on, you're hoping that come next season, back in the Championship, if he's still here, of course, then you'll see that improvement again next season.
I think we needed it more because I think when you're in a dogfight down the bottom of the league, I think you need players that are going to work your absolute socks off for you for 90 minutes.
And he does that.
And he's one of them players.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying like other people don't, but I think Casey, because he's local, loves the club, he wants to do it. And I think they're the type of players. And I think Luke Thomas has done the same since he's come in the team.
Yeah, been brilliant.
And he's local. I think he's been brilliant as well.
Yeah.
So I think you need them type of players when you're in a dogfight to like show other people that you need to care as much as we do. I'm not saying they don't. Yeah. But you need to work harder.
He's really surprised me actually, Luke Thomas.
I think.
Because his career at Leicester City has been up in the air, hasn't it? And then he's come in, he's got a slot, and he's gone right, bang. Yeah. I've got to make this, and that's what you've got to do as a professional. Or, if you're out of the team, you come in, you've got to make a mark. You've got to stand your ground and say, if I want to become a regular, I've got to start producing the goods. And he has done it way up long.
I think he would have been one of the players that you would have been looking to ship out because he's not been playing.
That's what I'm saying.
But since he's come back in, he's probably looking at a new deal now, just for the way he's been playing. That's how much football can change straight away. Looking for a new, he's been on loan so many times, or a few times, down in Championship. Couldn't even play in the Championship with Middlesbrough. He wasn't really playing, was he?
No.
But ever since he's come back to Leicester and started, I think he's been absolutely excellent.
Yeah. Rye makes a good point on YouTube. He says obviously Fatawu is going to be back next season from his ACL injury. So Casey McAteer will know that he's got a job on to get in ahead of Abdul. But
you got Mavididi as well.
Mavididi, there's options there.
But
Bilal,
look at
hopefully.
the options you have. Yeah. Look at the depth you have in the squad then, and they're all full of young, hungry players. It's something to look forward to. We spoke about hope. You just mentioned all these young lads that are going to be back for next season. And there's
there's 3 of them there.
Yeah, well, exactly. 3 or 4 of these younger kids who can give everyone a bit of hope for next season.
Yeah. It actually is, surprisingly, there is a lot to look forward to, isn't there? And we're not just saying it because we have to. Yeah. We're saying it because actually we believe that.
The biggest problem, obviously, is Jamie Vardy's now left. How do you replace Jamie Vardy? I know Patson's still here, but, I mean, he needs, for me, Patson needs to really step up to the plate if he's going to even be able to get this to the top of his socks, in regards to the levels that Jamie Vardy sent. But other than that, you're looking around at the rest of the squad, the younger lads who are playing in forward positions, and you're going, you know what, we've got some talent there. We've got some firepower here, to look forward to. There is that question, obviously, who replaces or how do you replace or begin to think about replacing a Jamie Vardy. But around that and in amongst it, you've got some talent.
Yeah. So the front row, though, you got McAteer, Abdul, Mavididi, Jake Evans and Patton Daka going into the Championship next season.
Monga.
Well,
Gerry Monga.
So
Bilal, there's 7.
Yeah.
There's 7 players at the top end of the pitch that can win any game.
But
But then obviously we need to see what's going on with who's going to go, who's going to come in, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of to and fro.
Right now it looks rosy, but you need to like see it, you know, come August when players decide if you want to stay or do you want to go. You know, but I think Abdul will still be here. I think Steffi will still be here. I think Casey's definitely going to be here. Can you say about the rest are going to be? We're not really too sure, yeah. So, but then from three, Casey, Abdul and Mavadida will cause any team in the Championship any problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Week in, week out, so...
Matt Elliott has arrived at the Vitality Stadium.
There's a
finally.
I thought we'd seen him before.
Yeah. Matt, can you hear me? How are you? How is?
Have your ears been burning, Matt?
I can hear you. I can hear you very loud and very clear, albeit belatedly. Apologies, lads, as usual.
How is it down there, Matt?
Yeah, nice. It's relatively cool, actually. There's quite a relaxed atmosphere, as you can imagine. Not sort of too much riding on this game, although Bournemouth, still have a bit to play for, and you can see that in the reflection of their team sheet. A very strong outfit they've got, but yeah, it's slightly overcast, cloudy. And it's not shorts and t-shirt weather, although a few people are braving it. I haven't this weekend, you'll be glad to hear. And John is certainly glad to hear, my main commentator today. Compadre, but looking forward to the game and just listening to the lads there at the back end of what they were saying, seeing how that sort of pans out in terms of Leicester's performance here today. And I think there's half an eye in the selection from Ruud van Nistelrooy today in terms of casting a little bit of an eye on next season and players that might be likely to feature. Not the case with everyone, I wouldn't think, but it's a test of Leicester. Sort of want to finish the season with a little bit of a flurry, don't they? They're on their best run of form of the whole campaign, unfortunately enough, at the wrong time. But they want to continue that, and a little bit of pride at stake, etc. It's going to be tough though against the Cherries, isn't it? They're a very decent outfit these days.
Final question to you, Matt, as well. Talks of the formation. Is it three at the back, do you think, with two wing backs? Is it a four with maybe Christensen in midfield as a left winger? What do you think?
There are several permutations, aren't there? Put it this way, it's not always an indication, because some reason I've seen it happen before, and they warm up with a three and then go with a flat back four and vice versa. But right in front of us, Connor Cody, Wout Fass on the right hand side, and Luke Thomas.
That would suggest a three then.
It would suggest a three, yeah, exactly. And then the front line is attacking the penalty area at the same time on 2/4 of the pitch. Taggart up top, McAteer skipping behind, Christensen high and wide on the left hand side. So as if he's featuring as that attacking wing back role. So it strongly suggests that it's going to be a back 3/5, yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Matt. We'll
You're
hear from
welcome.
you just before kick-off down on the south coast at the Vitality Stadium. We were just seeing a few shots of the young lads, the substitutes, warming up there, doing their rondos, and that is, if you just take a look at that bench, really, that is
No babies, aren't they?
positive. But it's a positive of that case that you've got. Even Caleb Okoli, he's a young player. He I'm sure will do really well in the Championship next season. There's enough quality even on that bench there. That next season's exciting.
Ricardo's like a granddad for them kids, isn't he?
He's babysitting, isn't he?
He's babysitting his little kids. Yeah.
For Ricardo. Ricardo, you're not starting today, but can you just sort
After these
the
kids
out
fall
in the
in,
warm-up?
Well, what better professional to learn from, by the way,
true.
than Ricardo Pereira. Oh, but Bubba's reminded me, I forgot to ask Matt what he had for his pre-match
Okay.
down at the Vitality. He was late today, so he might not even have eaten. But I'm
No,
sure he's probably,
he would have, mate.
Yeah.
Definitely would have.
He'd miss kick-off, wouldn't he? Just to,
I reckon. I don't think there was any traffic. I think he just stopped off at the services and had some food.
Coming up there roundabout and decided it was traffic.
Seen the golden M,
Yeah,
the
that's
golden arches.
the car just...
Just drifts. I've seen the
That was
Mackie
the
just
starter.
drifts. Yeah.
That's a starter before he gets into the cafe at Bournemouth.
So Matt thinks back three.
Look, I think it looks that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is talk that it is maybe a fall with Victor as a left midfielder.
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we?
Because and then what? And then
Well, like a
McAteer
4-4-2.
and Daka and Ayew as a 2. So McAteer on the right, Christensen left, Daka, Ayew as a 2, Thomas, Cody, Fast, Justin as about 4.
We'll soon find out when we kick off, won't we?
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
Just look at the line when we kick off as a kick off, we'll know.
We've had a
By
picture
the way,
from
are
Matt,
they two inverted, Ayew and McAteer? So they like playing as 10s?
If you're going by that,
Yeah. Playing off Daka.
what maybe, yeah. And then
Because the width's going to come from Justin and Christensen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see
Yeah,
either way, won't it? But Daka, let's talk about Daka for a moment. Once we've taken a look at Matt's food.
Oh.
There, he has eaten, obviously, down on the south coast.
That's a crusty garlic bread, that, isn't it? You can't see, can you?
No,
it's no point. It's no point.
Pats and Daka, though, Gerry's mentioned him already, Nuge. Whatever happens, obviously, it's, this is now officially today starting life post Jamie Vardy. It's someone's responsibility to step up to the plate, isn't it? And for someone like Patson Daka, he might think, right, Vardy's gone, I can be the main man. Let me start today by proving that I can be the man.
He has to go and show it, though. He's probably thinking that in his head, that if Jamie's not here, then it's my turn to shine. And he gets his chance today. Against Bournemouth. A solid team. But yeah, I don't know, he's had so many chances, hasn't he? But I know that's been because Jamie's been in the team or in the squad.
Yes.
So he's always been second fiddle, I think.
If Vardy's fit, Vardy plays.
That's what I mean. But now Jamie's not here.
How does he handle it?
How does he handle it?
How does he handle the pressure?
Well, he's probably thinking, I'll probably go 80, 85 minutes rather than 60.
It's exactly what we were talking about before with Monga, but in not just a game, but as a season, if you like. He probably thinks whenever he got the chance when Vardy was here, it was always like, oh, I really need to impress because it's.
Well, he's only been getting snippets, hasn't he?
Yeah,
if Vardy's here, he's playing. So he'll come on 75, 80 minutes. Patton gets 10 minutes.
And when you know that as say a second striker, if Vardy fits, he plays. So that affects your mind.
Yeah. You're not playing if he's fit.
So now he's number one. He's the number one striker. How does that affect his mind now?
He's probably got to watch goals like this back, hasn't he?
But he's got it in his luck. He's got electric pace, and he has to but he needs to use it in
the right way.
He needs to play off the line.
Yes.
Like how many times you've seen Jamie Vardy play off the back line where he's just playing off it to make that diverted run. He's got to be in the right areas when the midfielders have the ball for him to play him through. You can't just make pointless runs where he's not going to get it. He has to use his pace and utilise it in the best way possible, and we need to see that today.
And this is why I said, he's got to step up, not physically, but mentally, and take on the mantle of being Jamie Vardy's replacement. If that is what is going to happen for next season, then
it sort of it says a lot about someone's character, doesn't it? But if he steps up, he can be like, right, I want to be the main man here.
That's it.
The supporters,
does he
love him. He tries so hard, doesn't he, Patson Daka? He runs and runs and runs. We saw that goal against West Ham. Nicked in ahead of the defender. That pace will frighten any defence, whether it's Premier League or Championship.
But that he's got all that in the locker. But I think the club over the past 5 years have been looking for that person to try and challenge Vard, to overtake him, to be the main man.
Yeah.
Where when Jamie's still here, the fans demand Jamie to play. Everyone demands Jamie to play. So it's hard for the player who's coming in to try and replace him to even get past him because he knows deep down inside he's not going to play.
It's a difficult situation.
It's a horrible situation to be in, but now he's gone. I think in the long run it's going to be better for the club.
Yeah. Well, you hope so. This is what we're talking about. Can he somehow fill Jamie Vardy's boots
and
in some kind of
form?
Yeah,
but how do you do that? Because
he's
everyone's.
This is the big question.
Leicester's best ever player.
Yeah.
Playing the blue and white shirt. How do you replace that?
Yeah.
You can't. So everyone that's going to come in over the next, Patson now, Jake Evans, we have my signing striker in the summer. All these players have got to come in and try and score 201 goals. That's in the back of their head because no one else is going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's when you're an icon of the club and trying to replace someone like an icon of the club, it's impossible. I think it's impossible.
No, absolutely.
So they've all got a really hard task of trying to prove that they're they're the best striker at the club.
Let's get a quick reminder of today's team news. We're talking there about Patson Daka, of course. He starts up top in life post Jamie Vardy. It's Stolarczyk in goal. Thomas, Cody, Fass, we think, is a back three. Christiansen and Justin as the wing backs. Skip and Samare in midfield. Ayew and McAteer supporting Daka, whether that's as inverted tens, as News put it, or as actual wingers. Bournemouth technically still have something to play for, whether that European spot goes to 8th or not. Kepa in goal, Kirkes, Sensi, Zabarani and Smith, Adams and Brooks in midfield, Tavernier, Kluivert and Semenyo supporting Evan Nielsen. In these games at the end of the season, regardless of the fact Leicester have been relegated, you've obviously been in games where there's nothing to play for at the end of the season. Is it difficult to motivate yourself?
No, absolutely not. Because, number one, okay, the worst case scenario, let's say where you are relegated, but you're always wanting to finish on a high for number one. And obviously you don't want to go out, finish the season on a bad note. Your self-pride as a professional sportsman as well comes into play.
Reputation as well.
There's loads of factors. There's loads of factors that come into force so that you don't go, okay. Now, there may be the situation on the odd occasion where that can happen, but again, that's normally at the other end of the table. Stuff like that happens where you can sort of take your foot off the gas a little bit.
When you've maybe already won something.
Won something or you've achieved.
Well, they've done their job, haven't they?
Yeah,
They've won
exactly.
the league,
There may be the odd occasion, but it's definitely not at the bottom, in my opinion. In my view.
Yeah, no, I was saying, like, I couldn't see him, like, I'm sure you're the same, going into a game thinking, last game of the season, nothing on it, don't have to try as hard. I couldn't think of anything worse. No. That'll make my blood boil.
And you want to score a goal.
Exactly, but they're all professionals. You still want to play well, still want to, like, put a performance on for the fans.
Even if you're a player that wants to leave the football club.
If you get selected, like,
you have to...
You want to show that other teams as well if you want to leave.
Yeah. Who's watching me today?
Everyone's watching. You're getting watched by someone every game.
There's so many variables that come into every game of football. That
what is mentality like? What's he like if you're under pressure? What's he like if the team's relegated? And does he just want to, like, go out there and have a little kick about with his mates? Or does he want to try? There's so many things to think about when you're playing football.
And I guess if you score, for your personal stats, it doesn't matter when you look back and you've got X amount of Premier League goals. Doesn't matter that one of them came in a nothing game. But it isn't a nothing game. Keith Smith believes Leicester will win. Hopefully you're right, as does Daniel as well. So thank you everyone that's got involved with us in the comments section today. We'll be back at half-time and then again, of course, at full-time. We are just over 10 minutes now, though, from kick-off at the Vitality. So after a short break, we'll hand you over to our commentary team this afternoon for the final time this season in the Premier League. John Dunn is alongside Gerry Taggart on commentary. Do not go anywhere.
Sorry.